right, Gene. So we are in a new location today.
Yeah, we are.
We are a new location, different location, and we're at episode 3. So I think we talked about last time. 3 means there's some level of commitment at this point. So
Oh, for sure.
I don't know where Liz is, but sorry if I'm invading now because there's some commitment going on.
We have an additional commitment, like my wife and I have one. Is it like that? Is that reasonable?
It's like that.
Okay,
So,
okay.
I just don't want it to consume and take over and impact your relationship on the other side.
I think we're good. I send her upstairs to the bonus room, so she's doing the treadmill or watching TV or doing whatever she's doing. So I sent her. No, she's going up there.
I know. I'm like, you might want to clarify that.
Yeah, I had to clarify. Yeah, no one tells my wife what to do but my wife.
She's going to come down here and beat you on the head.
Oh, probably. She probably heard it. She's probably listening to the call.
Yeah, she's probably waiting.
Yeah, she's listening in. I got you.
Okay, so as normal, we'll start out with what things have happened since the last time we met, automotive-wise. I've had some cool stuff, but let's start with you.
Ooh, really the biggest thing for me is just recently started, as of the other day, really yesterday actually, swapping the brakes out in my car, prepping for the track day. So I've never changed the brakes in this car before. I haven't changed brakes in a long time, but anything oddly enough.
Is that because you're mechanically challenged? Or?
No, it's not that. It's just I didn't need to, and when I did the brakes, Luke, he's the guy, he's like, yeah, bring it over, Gene, for $20. I'll do the brakes for you. I'm like, $20? And why would I do anything for $20? I bought the brakes. So, but I actually enjoy doing it. I enjoy working my hands, doing it myself. There's some self-satisfaction there. But of course, instead of spending $20, I go out and spend $300 on tools because I didn't have any. I have not told the wife that. She's probably going to hear it at some point. But no, that's really it, though. It's just changing the brakes and then looking, because we got the big car show coming up in a couple of days, detailing the wheels, doing the barrels, and just making that whole thing look pretty.
I want to hear about, though, I've seen it, but I want to hear about this new apparatus that you got to assist you with the changing of your, jacking your car to be able to change your brakes.
Oh, you mean the 5-ton thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted something small and compact, and I didn't want to have a low profile, floor jack and want to go on cruises or, long rallies. It's not what I wanted to have in the car. And so I got this little 5-ton thing from Vevor, Vevor, and it's like $117. It comes with an impact wrench as well, which is really cool. It plugs into your lighter or there's a battery. It's really compact. I'd say it's probably about 12 inches long by about maybe 5 inches high and about 4 or 5 inches wide. It's pretty compact. It's got a light on. It has a compressor as well. And you shove the thing underneath there. It actually uses an electric motor to turn a, gears and screw that lifts the car up to 17 inches. Yeah, it'll lift up 5 tons. So once I figured out where to put it near the pinch weld of my car, I lifted up the entire right side of the car. And this thing's in the front, like right behind the rear right wheel. And the whole car was kinked like this. I'm like, wow, that's a powerful little thing. And I liked it because I can take it on a cruise. And if anyone else has a problem, we can stick it up underneath there. Except for the fact that it is not it's too tall to fit underneath my carbon fiber. And I was not smart enough to go and measure.
I wouldn't have thought of that either, though.
And yeah, I don't know why I didn't. And then go look at the specs because it showed the specs and I would have realized there's a gap. Maybe I don't buy that one. But I figured it out. So I got one of those roller, like the wheel dollies.
Yeah.
Clamp on each side of the wheel and it lifts it up about 3 inches, just enough to put the jack underneath there, plug it into lighter, turn on the car, fires up. It's a great little setup.
When you told me about that, I went and looked online and I was like, wow, that is pretty cool. I watched a couple of videos. When I came over and I saw it jack your car up, that thing is so small. I mean, when you think about a 12-inch by 5-inch by 5-inch or roughly whatever it is, that thing's picking up probably 2,000 pounds, probably lifting that whole car up. And it's so darn small. And it's not even hydraulic, which it's amazing that something that small. So I want to go buy one too now.
Yeah.
I've got a couple floor jacks, but I'm like, how convenient is that to have something small?
For a standard passenger car, it's going to be fine the way it is.
Yeah.
And then I had to go. I mean, when I moved here from Florida, I had floor jacks. I had low profile jacks. I had jack stands. I had all that stuff, and I didn't bring it with me. I ended up selling it to my grandfather. I gave it to my grandfather actually when I sold him my hot rod, my truck. He just took everything. I didn't plan on building anything for a while. Stupid of me. I had to go buy a whole bunch of stuff yesterday. Harbor Freight, man.
I do have a lot of stuff with Harbor Freight. They do have good stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
there's some. I guess it's all relative. I do like to buy quality, buy once, cry once. But there's some stuff like floor jacks, man, like that dolly you have. Those
Those are
things just
$100.
work. They
Yeah.
just. Why would you need to spend 3 times more for something simple like that? Now for tools, I do go and I spend a little bit better money for quality, like hand tools and torque wrenches and that kind of stuff. But for like a air compressor, for floor jacks, for that type of stuff, dollies, man, Harbor Freight's great.
Yeah, agreed.
I like them.
Yeah, I do too.
So didn't need to get your brakes changed after all.
Yeah, so it popped that up there, and there was a lot of squealing going on. I knew that one side of my brakes, I could see that the tab wasn't even near the. And I'm getting ready to do what? I got 3 track days scheduled now. Race 2, but I will do the third one being another track night. I want to do a lot more autocross. I'm gonna go do the what was it I did a few weeks ago and watched? It was the stuff in Bremerton, the roll races.
Oh.
So I thought, let me start off the season doing put new brakes on, just be nice. But as I pulled them off, man, there's plenty of pad there left. So put on more pace, put them back in, clean the wheels. Now I got some brakes for another time.
When you clean the wheels, are your wheels ceramic coated?
They were not.
Oh.
No, because they tried to do it, but I forgot to give them the key lock for the wheel. Yeah. So they didn't do it.
They didn't just jam on a socket and try to.
No, thank God. No, they did not. So they didn't really do it that way. They're easy to clean.
Yeah,
They
at some
were
point-
dirty though.
It makes your life so much easier with all the brake dust. Man, at some point you'll want to do that.
I do. I have some ceramic. I have some like a Griot ceramic spray I'll put on.
yeah.
But it's. I know it's not the same thing.
No, it's not the same thing.
What about you?
Man, so
Let's start with 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago on a weekend trip, you went down to Utah for a weekend trip. How'd that go?
it actually went phenomenal.
Yeah?
Yeah, it went really good.
Yeah, I understand you took a trailer,
The reason why you go to Utah,
a low-profile trailer.
the reason you go to Utah is to see the scenery.
Is that what you do?
I mean, the mountains there just.
What does the 4-wheel scenery look like that you may be... I'm doing this because he has not told us the car he bought 2 years ago. He's been holding it over us.
Actually, it's almost coming up on 3 years.
Really?
Almost by that. Yeah, it's been almost 3 years. Almost 3 years. I think July of 2021 is when I put the deposit and initial order down.
Man,
3 years ago.
So I've had it in my head what it is. I'll tell you what I think is. I don't know if I've told you what I think it is. So it's either, and I know there's some problems with CARB and whatnot because of California affecting how the government looked at this particular car, but the new Lotus, like the higher horsepower Lotus, is it the Emira?
Yep.
Yeah, the Emira. So it's either an Emira or it's an Aston Martin F1. That's what I think.
Both are nice cars.
Yes.
I've been in the Aston Martin, super duper impressive. I have a relationship with Aston Martin down in Long Beach, which I don't know if you knew this. I think they are the #1 dealer in the world. The California.
Really?
Yes, I was blown away that they sell more cars from that dealership than they do in England, which blows me away.
That blows me away.
Very surprised.
Yeah.
But I got to drive the DBX. Super nice car. I know we're digressing here, so I'll come back. I did go to Utah, and I got to see some beautiful mountains, and I got to drive through a bunch of crazy weather, and then I came back, and that was my trip.
Oh, okay. So I said it's the Emira or the F1. It's probably a Porsche. That's probably what it is. Probably nowhere near what I think it is.
One of our friends just got. I saw that he posted that he just got David just got some new Porsche.
The turbo, yeah.
Yeah, I just saw he posted that. The reason why I went to Utah will be revealed in the future, but that was a quick trip. Mm-hmm. That was down and back. That was I want to say it was about a 14-hour drive down. I drove down Friday night and I came back. I was back home by Saturday night. That was a long.
You slept in did you say you slept in in the car or in the truck rather?
I slept in the truck. Yep. I
pulled over. Stop?
I pulled over at a rest stop, jumped in the back, My wife was not super happy, but I mean, I was protected. So if something were to happen,
Yeah.
the rest stops are so packed. Man, they are just cars and 18-wheelers everywhere.
Yeah.
Somebody trying to do something, like, they would have to be high as a kite to try to do something, which I'm not saying that there wouldn't be people that do that, but I wasn't worried. I was protected. So I did go to Utah, came back, but then this past weekend I did another trip. This one was really cool though. So I went to Laguna Seca. So the V Club relationship with HOD, Hooked on Driving.
I've heard of it.
What's that?
I said I've heard of it.
You might have heard of it.
I've heard a few things.
So relationship there, and went down for a drive on Saturday. So I drove down on Friday, crazy drive. There's a big storm cell that came through just north of San Francisco. It was hailing, lightning, pouring rain that you can't even see out the windshield, and Friday afternoon traffic all came together that delayed. Took me, instead of taking about 14 hours, it took me about 18 hours to get there.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was really, I was supposed to be there by 2 o'clock, I think. 2 or 3 o'clock is when I planned to get there. They're also doing an event on Friday, a drive. HOD had a drive going on Friday, but the V Club, they were going to get some parade laps, get some pictures, and do a dinner on Friday night. I completely missed it. I didn't arrive until 7 p.m. It was starting to get dusk, so I pulled in super late. And this is pretty funny. I Google mapped it, and it takes me this route that I turn off the main road. I don't know what the main road was called, but it was a main road that's down by the waterfront. And it took me off into this, looked like a back road. So I'm driving, and it said, there was a sign that said, "Welcome race fans," but it wasn't like an official, like, Laguna Seca sign. It was like another sign. So I'm like, okay, it's weird. I would have thought something like big entryway. I turned down as I'm driving. There's a gate and it's locked. So I'm like, crud, what? Google map it, punch in the address. It's pointing me to right where I'm at. I'm like, what the heck? So I was camping that night. There's a campground at Laguna Seca. Look at the phone number and it says they close at 5. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's got to be, I'm searching. And so I'm getting frustrated. I've got my hazards on. I got my trailer, the car. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, man, I don't even know where to go now. Like, I don't even know what to do. So I'm sitting there and I'm getting frustrated. And then a cop pulls up behind me, turns on his flashers. I'm like, oh my gosh, great. What have I done now? So a cop comes up, is like, what's going on? I'm like, trying to go to Laguna Seca, but I don't know where the gate's locked. He's like, oh, you're not at the right entrance. I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, go up here, take a right, a left, right, left. I'm like, wait a minute, what? And he's like, don't worry, just follow me. So I got an escort.
You got an escort?
I got an escort.
Nice. Nice.
He escorted me right up to the entry. It was awesome.
That is so cool.
It was super cool. Really appreciate
Really
that
cool,
officer.
dude.
That was really cool for him to do that. So I get to the entryway, and now there's a giant sign, welcome to whatever, Laguna Seca, big sign. When you come in, you take a right, and then you bear left, and then you're looking, I think it's like a 16.5% grade. It's probably one of the steepest hills I've gone up in my life. If you were in a gas truck, like, you probably would have been barely moving.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I've got a diesel, so I got a lot of low-end torque. But I was barely putzing up this hill. Super steep, crazy steep hill. But I get to the top, get checked in, and by the time I get parked, get my bed set up, it was probably about 8 p.m., kind of late.
Do you have a tent? Did you camp out with a tent or like?
Yeah, I took a tent and had a blow-up bed, and it was super windy because it's up on the ridge. You're up high. Super breezy. The campground was packed too. Like, not of car people, but just people that camp there. There's biking trails, hiking trails, all kind of stuff there.
Really?
Pretty popular place. So camped. Then the next morning I get up, go down, go get checked in. So I do a driving event at Laguna, and I have to tell you, that place was pretty just unbelievable. I get up there, I'm running in.
It's an epic track.
Super epic track. I mean, the famous corkscrew. Obviously, there's some other really cool places about it. One thing that the HOD has changed this year, which I'm sure they'll do up here as well, is no more point buys with your hand. So I'm running an advanced group, and we're doing the briefing before you go out on track, and they're like, yeah, so we have a change. We're adopting the European standard, and I think the Audi of North America does the standard as well. And instead of point buy, you're going to use your turn signal.
Yeah.
And so which I was happy about instead of having to stick my arm out the window. Plus, that means they're going to let you keep your window up all the time.
Yep.
So when it's raining, your car doesn't get soaked. So I was super, super happy about that. So it was great. Passing anywhere on the track, you just have to use your turn signal. I did get confused a couple of times because you need to turn where you are going to go as a driver, not where you want the car to go by you.
Oh.
So it's a little bit different because with
that
point
is
bys,
definitely
you're
different.
kind of pointing, hey, go here or go there.
Yeah.
Turn signal, you have to tell where you, the driver, you're going to go. Like if you're driving down a freeway, you're going to put on your turn signal to go right if you're going to go right.
So if I want you to pass on the left, I'm gonna hit the right.
Correct. Now, they don't want you to necessarily move out of your lane, your driving line, but you let the car behind you know which direction that you're going to stay. You're not going to, dive into them. So there's a couple times where there's this Miata that guy was just flat out hauling. Guy was flying, really good driver. He was coming up, a guy behind me and then me. He was trying to weave between us, kind of like an S pattern between us. And so I think the guy behind me used the wrong signal because I could see the Miata coming. And then I had my turn signal right, so he would go to my left.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he darted to my right because the guy behind me must have used the wrong turn signal. So it was kind of a bit hairy. So by the end of it, I think we all got used to the new method, but I'm telling you, Laguna Seca was pretty awesome. Not a super fast track. Like I never got, like here at the Ridge, 150, 60 miles an hour. Down there, like 117, 119.
Really? Even going down after you get on the straightaway, you go into the start-finish line?
Yeah.
I would have thought you're there, because I remember you saying you get to 117, then you hit that hill.
You get that
which
hill.
is a little pucker factor.
Oh, man. The first time I hit that, well, that's why I slowed down, because my pucker factor went sky high.
Yeah.
It's a weird sensation to go that fast and then for it to drop out and then turn one, which is really kind of a bend. Well, you've done the sim. When you're you're coming over that drop, you're facing toward the right of the track and the track bends left, but I don't want to brake while I'm turning, right? You don't want to do that. I want to start slowing down so I can get my car angled to the left and then apply my brakes. So I wasn't willing to push myself going faster. Yeah. There were guys in GT3, GT4 RSs that were smoking over that little drop.
Yep.
I just didn't feel confident. First time I've been there.
First time, I wouldn't either. When John said he got there, he would always let up. Like right as he was coming over to the crest, he just let off the throttle a little bit, let the car settle, over. And I thought, I said, if you look at it from, at least in the sim, you're crossing that line. If you're on the right side of the track, you turn the wheel to the left to get your steering pointed to the left, so you come over that hill, but you're still a little bit of an angle. So I can see why there's that pucker factor.
I was like, oh my God. And later that day, I met up with some guys, and they were telling me that last year there was a guy with I don't know what it was. It was a Mercedes AMG. I don't know which flavor. He was going, and this is like semi-pro guy, just hauling. He was going over the crest, and I guess he let off like at the exact moment the tires were dipping at that drop, unsettled the car. He flipped around, did a 180, and slid all the way down the track backwards into the tire wall at the end of the track.
He was moving then.
Oh, he
there's a big distance from
that's a long way.
I know. So he was flying.
He was flat out flying. So
we're saying is, as he went over the crest, as the weight transferred all through the front, he let up off the throttle
just at that split second.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was, they told me about that like early afternoon. So after I heard that, I'm like, I'm not going to push it in that corner. There's too many other corners I need to practice on anyway.
I'll bet you though, if you have it right, your steering's right, and you are committed to it, when the car's compressing, the amount of grip that you're going to have,
I'm sure
compression is going to be
That's
really
why those
good.
Porsche guys were just
flying through.
Yeah, they're flying. They're hitting down and they're making the turn and braking super late.
Those cars are so good and automatic. They're probably sipping tea while doing it. Tea and crump. No, I'm kidding.
There's some good drivers.
There's good drivers. You don't go fast in a GT3 or GT4 and not be a competent driver, most likely.
Yeah, they were doing good. So I worked on, I kept going out and I was working on mainly corners. The corkscrew was cool. I know John said that that's like his favorite thing ever. It was cool, but it was just like, it was just.
What was your favorite section of the track?
The favorite section, and I don't know the turn numbers by heart. So it's the turn before the corkscrew. So you make a hard left and there's that sand pit off to your right.
And there's
then
a
you
little
go,
dip.
And there's that little dip and then you go up the hill. So that one I was really playing with the time, how to hit that dip, carry the speed out without getting, you playing on the edge there. You don't want to get just over so you get sucked into that pit.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Because you're coming up the hill, you go under the bridge, you start braking, and then you hit that dip and you go back up toward the corkscrew. I really enjoyed that. That was cool.
So when you took that turn, when you took that left, were you coming off throttle and just coasting through that?
No,
were you braking through that?
So what I ended up doing, by the end of the day, I felt more confident about it. I would come up the hill, I would apply brake at, I think, the third brake, 3, 2, 1. I'd brake hard at 3, and then I would do literally like a half a second, like half to 1 second hesitation. It'd be like press hard, let up, slight pause, and then accelerate. Before, all I was coasting. I would hit the brake and I would coast, go through the dip, and then I would hit it. But man, you lose so much time.
You lose a lot of momentum.
Oh my gosh! So
I think you'll find out when you do the sim later on. That's the way I do it as well.
Okay.
I will hit the brakes hard. I will coast for a second, and as I'm turning in, and then go back on throttle right as I hit that dip. And but if you're on, I've done it the other way, full throttle the entire time, and I went to the beach.
Yeah, there are some guys that were full throttle going through there. Man, there was a lot of guys running like Cup 2Rs and other track-oriented tires from other manufacturers. I wasn't willing to push it. I mean, not on the 4S.
And you're on Cup 2s, right?
No, I'm on 4S.
You're on 4S? Is that what the car came in? Okay.
Yep.
I don't know why I thought those came with Cup 2s.
They come with Cup 2s if you get the Z07 package, but I had to bypass it if I wanted the car.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about
that.
Yep.
I would like to get Cup 2s and just see how they do, but on the 4S, I'm sure they would have held up fine, but I didn't want to even test going over to that fast in the area. I was still running a respectable time. I mean, I was running in the top half of the advanced class.
Yeah.
So I was happy where I was at, but it was a fun day. Nobody crashed that day. One guy got spun around as you're coming around the straight. Mm-hmm. One guy got spun around. That's the only incident the entire day. On Friday, though, because it was that storm I told you that I drove through, that came through Laguna Seca track, and they still tried to run the track.
Really?
They said they had I drove through it, so I can imagine what it would have been like on track. I wouldn't have gone out. A guy in a brand new Z06 like mine ran into the wall.
Oh,
hydroplaned.
Yeah.
And then another car, which they didn't tell me what it was, but another guy did the exact same thing, and they shut the track down for a time being until the storm passed. But
that's irresponsible.
I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have been out there. That's just.
I think that's irresponsible on the driver's part. Look, we all think we're great drivers. We all do. I mean, I run the advanced group. I know what I'm doing. Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah, that water
but that doesn't mean anything.
Dynamics.
That water, I don't know how to skate in my car, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I did. And then I packed up, met some cool people.
Yeah.
I was down there, made some good connections with some people. So maybe at another time we'll talk about what maybe some of those connections might bring some people onto the podcast.
Sweet.
So that was cool. Then I packed up, loaded up, headed home. There was actually another guy from Washington that drove down. He trailered his car down as well.
Roy?
No, this was Brandon.
Okay. Oh, Brandon. Yeah.
So I was like, man, that guy looks familiar.
Yeah.
And it was Brandon.
He's awesome.
So he's a super cool guy.
I forgot he was going down until I saw him on the shirt list.
Yeah, he was going to actually go to Bend, Oregon, and go snowboarding, but they had a big storm, so he ended up just coming down. And then when he was leaving,
I'm gonna text him. By the way, we're talking.
Oh,
yeah.
He was going to Mammoth and go snowboarding before he comes home. I'm like, man, good life. So he came down, and there's this other guy which we haven't met yet, Roy from Oregon.
Yeah.
Drove down as well. So it was cool to see different group of people. Super fun event. Had a blast. I probably will only go back to Laguna if there's a group of us going. I stay more than a day. Like we would hit other tracks.
Yep.
There's no way I would do. The track was fun, but it's not worth a 14+ hour drive for one day.
Each way, yeah.
It's not worth it.
I get that.
I talked to some locals though, and they said if they had their druthers, they recommend going to 2 other tracks outside of Laguna. They said Laguna's fun and all, and it's like a bucket list.
Button Willow.
No, they said Thunderhill and
Thunderhill.
Sonoma.
Yep, Sonoma. We got some friends out there. Yeah.
So those are the 2
But it's
tracks.
odd.
They said, if anything, those are the 2 that check off the list for Laguna because that's a bucket list
I got to
item.
do it. Yeah, I know. I
But
got a bucket list.
We need to do the other ones. So I'm like, man, go down and spend like 3 days and hit a couple tracks. So I would be up for that, but I wouldn't be up for driving down just for a 1-day thing again.
We could go. I mean, we can do the FHR ones, the Flying Husky ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he does them. He just sent out his calendar too. He puts on amazing events. Yeah, and the cars that they're out there. He said,
Next level.
70s F1 cars.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No thanks. All right. So I think that's going to wrap up our activities, our topic for this week.
Oh boy.
We've been talking mainly about cars, some about people, as it relates to us and, some of our first cars and what we've done. And we've talked about vehicles, but we really haven't talked about roads per se.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the third component of the podcast, people, cars, and roads. So I got some things about roads to talk about. We'll see where this goes. I want to talk about some experiences that you may have had. I've had quite a few about driving on some different roads. And the first one I want to talk about is driving in inclement weather.
Ooh.
So I don't know if you've had any. I'll start, give you time to think.
Yeah, please do.
So the first story I'll talk about is driving in inclement weather as it relates to snow.
Okay.
Even though I grew up down south. My dad was military as well, and so we bounced around. I spent time in Missouri. They get lots of snow there. And I remember we had a little Honda Civic, like one of those, you remember the old like hatchback? Mm-hmm. I remember just like doing donuts and, having fun and driving in the snow. So I've had some experience. I've gotten pretty comfortable driving in snow. So I'm not really afraid of it. I'm totally comfortable. My wife and I, we get married. We did our honeymoon in Lake Tahoe. Now, we're both in the military. At the time, we're in different units, so when we got married, we couldn't go anywhere because we're different units, different deployments, etc. Mm-hmm. So we had to wait like 3 months, I think 3 or 4 months before we could go on a honeymoon. So we're going to go to Lake Tahoe. So February, March timeframe, really great snow for Lake Tahoe to go skiing and snowboarding. So we go there, we fly in, we go to Reno, we're going to drive up to Lake Tahoe, staying in a hotel in South Lake Tahoe, and go to Heavenly. So we rent a little car, I don't know what it was, like a Ford Escort, I want to say it was a small car. We get to, have you been there before? Mm-mm. Okay.
My daughter's been there. She went
Okay.
there last summer, she's going back there this summer.
Great place.
College friends.
We go there every summer, love Lake Tahoe, but this is the winter, and so you fly into Reno, and then we're driving up, and there's 2 routes that you can go, but this route we're going, you go, I guess that will be on the east side, and then you go up Highway 50 to get up to South Lake Tahoe. It's pouring snow. From the time we left the airport, it was clear, but it was kind of that snow cloud. Mm-hmm. You could see it in the distance. So as we get closer and closer, it's like dumping snow, like just pouring snow. I'm thinking, man, I don't have snow chains with us because it's a rental car.
I think I know this story. I think so.
I might have told you this. I know I haven't told it on air, but I might have told you. So as I'm looking up this hill, I see a bunch of flashing lights. And it's a bunch of state troopers.
Yep, I know the story. It's a great story.
So we see state troopers. They have a whole bunch of people pulled over. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I didn't say this out loud to Cheryl at the time, but I'm thinking they're pulling people over because of snow tires or snow chains, making sure you've got it. And I'm like, crap, we don't have it. Where am I going to go get snow chains? This is like 7 o'clock at night. Like, where am I going to get snow chains? We have to get up there. It's honeymoon. Oh my gosh. So I'm in this dinky car. I'm just going to go for it. So you sit at a light.
Full send, baby.
Yep, full send. So we're sitting at the light. You just go straight through the light. You go up the hill. I'm kind of timing it because there's like at least three state troopers that are busy with cars. And so I'm kind of going slow to monitor the state troopers to make sure they're actively engaged. And so when I see that they're all three like talking with cars or people, I just go. I'm not planning on stopping, because if I stop, we're not being able to get to South Lake Tahoe. Now, I didn't think about the whole thing of, man, I've got to get up this incline, which is a pretty significant incline. I've got to get up this incline in order to get to South Lake Tahoe. There's probably a reason why they're stopping people, but I didn't even think about it. I'm just like, I've got to get there. So I go, and I pass the first two troopers. No problem. They don't even see me. The third trooper sees me coming. So he stops what he's doing, whoever he's talking to, and he faces the road, me driving, and he puts his hand out because he wants me to stop. And so Cheryl's like, what's he doing? Because
he's giving you a high five. That's it. Just Cheryl, put your hand out. Give him a high five.
I don't think she realized what was going on at the time. And so she's like, what's he doing? And I'm like, I'm waving. I put my hand up and I'm waving at the state trooper as I go by. And she's like, I think they want us to stop. I'm like, oh yeah, they definitely want us to stop.
Did she start yelling at you?
I don't think she did. I don't think she did. I think she was probably just like, oh my gosh, what have I just married into, this idiot? So
she probably still thinks that. Let's be honest.
Oh, she does.
Yeah, she probably still thinks
with all the crazy stuff that I've done.
But she's used to it, and at this point, it's on her too.
Yeah, she's adapted. I'm pretty lucky. I've got a fortunate that my wife supports my craziness. But there was nobody on the road going up there. Not one soul. Everybody.
No, there was two. you and Cheryl.
Me and Cheryl. No other cars. Either they had stopped or they had already made it to the top. No one was there. And so it was pretty sketchy. I'm not going to lie. It was pretty sketchy. I'm spinning a lot, but I made it up. We made it all the way to...
It was a front-wheel drive car, too, so that rear end had to be
oh man, I was
dancing.
Dude, I was dancing. Just dancing. So we got all the way up there and made it. By the time we're coming home, they had the roads clear, so it was no problem coming back. But I'll never forget that. I mean, I'm waving at the state trooper, and I just drove right by the guy, and he probably thought, that guy's going to be back in a few minutes. He's not going to get anywhere, but dadgummit, I made it all the way up there.
That's right.
So that was a good one. And then I had another one local, another snow story local. Cheryl and I had gone to the Fifth Avenue. So I used to have a good friend, also prior military, Dan, another Dan. He had season tickets to the Fifth Ave. He would split them up, me and there's another guy and Dan. The three of us, they would get first dibs, and then what they didn't want, took what they gave us. And it was a cool event, going to the Fifth Ave and seeing different plays. And this one was in December. I forgot what it was, but it was a super cool event. It started snowing as we come out of the Fifth Ave. And so we're in Seattle driving back, starting to snow. And where we were living at the time, you had to go up a really big hill. We're driving the Tahoe at the time, four-wheel drive. We had four-wheel drive. So I'm like, man, that's a really steep hill we have to go up to get home. It should be okay. It's pretty steep, four-wheel drive. I think we'll be okay. The closer we get toward home, it's been dumping more on the south end than it had in the north end. We turn off, the main interstate highway. We're going the back roads to go up this big hill. And I'm like, it's pitch dark. I mean, you get out of the play at like 10 o'clock at night or something. Pitch dark, super clear night, snowing, but clear night. And as I'm looking ahead, I see all of these lights that are stationary on the hill. They're all brake lights of all cars that are stuck on the hill. And so as we get closer and closer, there's at least 5, 6, 7 cars that are stuck on the hill, not moving. And you're not going to start from a dead stop. Nope. Once you stop, you're done.
Yep.
And it's a really steep hill.
Were they like on the side of the road, or were they stuck
No,
in the
they were
middle?
on the road.
So they were in your way.
They're in your way,
Ooh.
Right? It's a two lane up, two up, two down. And so they're all just smattered. So you can go around them, but they're just smattered across the hillside. I thought back, man, I did this in a Ford Escort. I can do it in a four-wheel drive Tahoe, right?
Oh, no.
So I start.
Famous last words.
Dude.
I can do this.
I start up that hill, and I go around the first car, go around them. I come up to the second car, and I'm probably at this point maybe 100 yards in from the flat going on the incline, maybe 100 yards, so not very far. And I'm like, oh crap, I am not going to make this at all. And there was this little stupid car behind me, some low car, I don't know what it was, some small car. He was following right behind me.
He was drafting you.
He was trying to draft me, right? And so After we go around the second car, I'm like, crap, I'm not going to make it. So I start slowing because I'm starting to spin. So I come to a stop. I can't go. And I'm like, crap. We start sliding backwards.
Oh, no.
No joke. I'm sliding. This stupid car is right behind me. I put my hand out the window and I'm like trying to wave. The guy's just sitting there. I keep sliding. So I'm like, can he not see me? I open my door. I wish I had a video of this. I open the door as I'm sliding, stand out on the running boards of the Tahoe.
No, you don't.
I do. And I'm yelling at this idiot. I'm sliding. I don't have control of the vehicle. You got to get out of the way. I'm yelling at this guy. So he turns his wheel or something. He backs up and spins around. So he gets away. I'm able to back and spin the Tahoe around, and then I face the car the right direction.
Right back down.
And I go right back down the hill. Dude, I was
That's a pucker factor for sure.
So third story, and then I'll stop. These are all snow related. You know this one too. This just happened just last year?
Oh, I know this one. Yeah.
Last year. We all go to a toy event, right? A Christmas toy drive at Pacific Raceways. It was a sunny day. It was the sky was clear when I went out there in the morning, and I took the C8. And we go out there. It's great. Nice day. Get out there and we start to leave and the snow comes. Now the snow wasn't supposed to come until the evening. We leave around like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and it's starting.
It was a beautiful day.
It was.
Yeah.
It was starting to snow when we left at like 1 o'clock. I get on 18. 18 is dead stopped going west. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And we're sitting there. And I'm like, I'm trying to think of all the ways I can get home because I also have to go up hills where I live now. And I'm like, God, I got to get off 18. I can't drive up 18. I need to get off this road. And the longer I sit in traffic, it's getting worse because it's starting to snow pretty good. So we get down the bottom of the hill and I turn off. I don't know what the road was. I turn off back way to get home. And I get about a mile or two down that road, back roads. It's completely covered in snow. And there are people turning around coming back this direction because they can't go forward. I'm like, oh, crap. Oh, my God. So I'm starting really to get worried at this point. So I spin it around. I flip around. I know a couple other routes. I finally get myself back close to home. I'm within 3 miles of my house, but I have to go up a super steep hill.
Yep.
You know the hill. There's a sedan in front of me, a Chrysler 300 in front of me. He goes up the hill. I'm like, dude, if he can go up the hill, I'm going to go up the hill.
Oh my God.
I get about halfway up the hill and I cannot go up the hill anymore. I'm like, oh crap, what am I going to do? So I'm stuck there on the middle of the hill. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, crap. So I'm sitting there, and I look like an idiot, right? Because here I am driving a C8. I'm in the snow. Why am I even out in the snow? Well, earlier in the day, it was great,
yeah.
Right? Some guys pull up in a custom-built dually Ford truck, okay? Pull up. Hey, what are you doing? I'm stuck. You need help? I'm like, yep. And they're like, do you want us to tow you home? I'm like, I would like just to get back down the bottom of the hill first. Let me just do that. And they're like, all right, we'll help you. So this is kind of crazy. I put the car in reverse. I cut the wheels hard right. So as I start to back down, the front of the car goes to the left. They start pushing the back driver's side in the uphill. So as I come downhill, it's trying to pivot the car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, that's not going to work. Sure enough, because the road's iced over.
Yeah.
It just spun that car right around and faced me right down the hill, and I drive down. Super thankful. I drive down the bottom of the hill, and those guys, they're like, hey, do you need help now? I'm like, well, if you'll give me a ride home, I can go get my truck and come back. And so those guys gave me a drive up, gave me a ride up to my house, got my truck, and I came down. And I'm spending the night down by my car because I was worried what might happen. And sure enough, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, some unsavory people came around and were checking out, the area. So I cranked my truck, turned the lights on, let them know that I'm here, and then they skedaddled.
Yeah.
They went away. As much good driving that I've done in the snow over my lifetime, those 3 things it just makes me question, maybe I need to take a step back and not try to think that I can do some things in the snow, because the snow levels the playing field. It just takes all that, what you think you can do, takes it completely out.
Yeah.
So Those are my inclement weather stories.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking, so I'm from Florida, right? I'm from Tampa. I'm used to heavy rain. I'm so used to heavy rain. Certainly up here in the Pacific Northwest, I've not seen anything in the 9 years I've been here that compared to Florida. So I mean, I've driven through ridiculous stuff, like rain so bad that like the shade of the sky was now green. I mean, it was just rain coming sideways, like in Forrest Gump. I had rain that went sideways, came up from the ground.
That's right.
It was right. It was one of those kind of. So I'm so used to driving, it doesn't even faze me. I don't really have a story like that. I haven't. See if this catches it. In Florida, my wife bought a GMC Acadia, so it's front wheel drive vehicle. Which, by the way, I did not know that when we bought it.
They have 4-wheel drive ones.
That's not the one we bought. That did not. I did not.
Well, not in Florida. They're not going to sell you. I mean,
right? Exactly. Yeah, so did not come to play in Florida. So we move here and we ship the truck over here. And Liz and I decide, so in 2015, we decided for Christmas, we're going to take the kids for the first time for them to see snow. And we're going to take the Acadia, the GMC Acadia. So I said, well, we're going to have to get snow tires. And again, I just didn't realize it was a front-wheel drive only car. I was not my vehicle. I never paid attention to it. Never done any service on it. I didn't know. Yeah, I know. I'm stupid. I get it. Because now there's one, by the way, one of my neighbors has the exact same color, exact same car. Says all-wheel drive right around the back of it. Yeah, I'm clearly stupid. We decided we're going to go to Leavenworth.
Oh, my gosh.
I love Leavenworth.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful.
Especially in the winter.
Yeah, not the prison, for the people who know that. Not the prison. But the Germantown, Christmas town, Leavenworth.
Yeah, that's not a good
It's
Leavenworth.
about 3 hours from Seattle-ish. Well, so this trip is supposed to be 3 hours.
Yep.
We're going out Interstate 2. That route out there.
Okay.
We load up the kids. We got everything ready. And I had prepped. We bought some tire chains, but these are like tire wires. You know, it's one of those kinds of things. So, and I had prepped.
At least you took those with you.
Well, here's the thing. I had actually laid out in the rain the night before and practiced putting them on and taking them off and putting them on. I wanted to know how to do it had I needed to do it in the rain, in the inclement weather. And I'm so weird that I went out there, instead of being like in a rain jacket, so, well, I'm going to be cold if I do it out in the snow, so I'm just wearing a T-shirt. Yeah, I know. Just let that sink in. I know I'm dumb. I acknowledge it. Yeah. So I'm out there, but
wait a minute.
Yeah, no, just let that go.
I don't even understand the rationale about.
Because I'm going to be cold. I'm going to be miserable. Might as well practice being miserable.
I get about like if you're training for an event or something, but.
Stupid. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. I know.
That's hilarious. That's great.
No, it's not really that great.
Oh my God.
It's not as great as it sounds. It's great for you though. So I practice putting them on. I know how to put them on if I need to. Great. So we get on the road. Everything's going great. Leave at like 2:00. Thinking we'll get there around 5:30, whatever.
Are you spending the night?
Oh, we're there for like 3-4 days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all
3
right.
days, whatever. So we get there, we get driving, and then as we're going, the snow starts coming down, and we're going up to Stevens Pass area, right? And at some point, I'm like, okay, I got to pull over for the chains. I pull over and I put them on, get them nice and tensioned. They're really good. And we get on the road, and all of a sudden I start hearing a clump, 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 clump. And I heard it the night before, but I thought that was because the natural, the natural sound you'd make because we're on concrete and then chains on it, or the ropes rather. So
every time
I thought that was the rotation. Yeah, okay. So I keep hearing it, and it doesn't sound like it did the night before. It sounds worse. So we get like a mile down the road, and I pull over again, and I check it out. I'm like, man, something's not right. This is just not right.
But visually, they look okay.
Visually, they're tight. They're exactly where they're supposed to be. So we get back on the road again, and we go maybe half a mile, and I look back, and I'm going so slow. I probably got 30 cars behind me now, and I'm like, this is not right. I can't drive the car with that sound. So I pull over again. I'm in the snow now. This time I have a jacket on and gloves, and and I get the flashlight, and I'm looking, and I just happen to notice the struts on the front of the car. They've been ground down a little bit. They're starting to get some not ground down. They're getting some good scuff marks and scratches.
Okay,
and I'm like, what is that about? And then I kind of realized, oh, that's the chain hitting.
Oh my gosh!
And then I tell Liz about it, and I'm like, well, honey, this is what's going on. She went, oh. She said, oh, maybe that's why, because she had the car serviced a couple of days before. She said, oh, that's why the service guy said don't put chains in the front. It's probably not a good idea. And I said, wait a minute, say what? She said, "Oh yeah, they said it's probably not a good idea. I didn't think that they were right, so I didn't think to tell you." Wait, what? No, there's a reason why they told you that, baby, because it hits the strut and it was actually damaging the thing. So now I'm sitting there going, I can't drive forward. I can't go any farther. There's no way. I'm like, we have to go back. I mean, I take the chains off the car. We got to turn around and drive back.
Gosh.
So, you got to know Liz, my wonderful wife, she's determined. I'm thinking rationally. I'm like, let's go home. Tomorrow we'll rent a 4-wheel drive vehicle. We'll come back. Okay, no problem. No, we were not going to let that happen. Liz says, nope, no, we're not doing that. So she goes online while I'm taking the chains off. I get back. By the time I get back in the car, she has already rented a Buick Acadia, which is essentially the same car, but with a Buick thing,
yeah.
all-wheel drive. And it's sitting at the SeaTac, rental area. She's like, let's go. I'm like, wait, now? She's like, yes, now. So we turn around and I drive back from Stevens Pass, essentially, to SeaTac, drop off the car at like one of the $8 a day rental places, go rent the car, put everything in it, swap everything over, get back on the road again, and get back to where we were in Stevens Pass. Now I'm in an all-wheel drive vehicle, don't have to put chains on. So we finally get there. Remember, we left at 2. We pulled into the Airbnb we were renting at midnight. Oh, the story's not over now. So we pull in, and I go and I use the keypad to get to the condo, and the keypad's not working. So the keypad's on the outside. You hit the buttons, opens up, and the condo keys were there.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
It wasn't working. So I went back and I grabbed a screwdriver. I'm like, maybe I got to pry it open, but I don't want to pry too hard. It looks like I'm breaking in. So a little pressure. Nope, it wasn't like frozen. It was just that key thing wasn't working.
Right.
So an hour later, we're still fiddling around with that and calling the people on call before they're like, oh, you're in the wrong unit.
What?
Yeah. Well, I'm like, well, the thing you highlighted says this unit. It's like, oh no, that's the building. But what says unit? So we had to go to the next building, and then we clocked in and went inside. So that was why we got in at 1:00 to the room.
Now, can you imagine I'm assuming no one was in the other unit or they were asleep.
I'm assuming they were asleep.
But
or no, yeah.
Can you imagine if you had
because the parking lot was full, so I'm assuming people were there.
So they were probably asleep.
Yes.
And had they been awakened, and they trying to see you with a screwdriver.
Some big bald guy with the screwdriver's going to break in.
What the heck are,
oh
my
man,
gosh.
that could have been epically bad. So yeah, that was the deal, man. I am, I just got a text from my wife. Hungry. You have 5 minutes. I'm coming down to eat. I love my wife. She's awesome.
She could come down. She could jump on.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. The fact that she rented a vehicle and had something ready so that you just had to go and then drop off and then swap over and then go back to the exact same place. Were stopped and to keep going.
Oh, and here's the thing. I almost wrecked on the way back in the Acadia. On 2, at one point it's a two-lane road that merges into 1. I didn't see the merge until the last minute. And if I hadn't seen the merge, it actually makes you turn right. And at the last minute, and at the speed I was going, there was no way to make that turn. And luckily, it was just a piece of concrete berm. I would have went over it. It would have been, I was 50 or 60. I would have jumped that thing. Bam! So thank God
hazard.
Oh my God. Yeah, it would have been yeehaw. So luckily I saw it at the last minute and everyone was asleep. And I whoa, jerked the wheel over and was able to barely miss the concrete.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that woke everybody up. So Liz was determined. She's like, oh, we are not coming back the next day. We are making this happen now. She's awesome, man.
That's funny.
Yeah, and the kids had a great time. The next morning, kids ran outside, made snow angels, and we had epic snow fights. It was a lot of fun, but we still talk about the 10-hour drive to Leavenworth.
That's pretty funny. Oh my gosh. Although I think the best part of that though is the fact that you needed to rehearse in the rain with nothing on.
I was wearing clothes, nothing on.
I know, but okay.
Get that out of your mind, man.
No, believe me, I wasn't going there.
Okay, good.
But the fact that you needed to rehearse with
I just felt like, you know what? If it's going to be cold, I'm a Floridian, dude. I'm a Floridian. What do I know?
oh man.
That is number one on the list of things I should not have told you.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's so funny. Okay, well,
All right.
I guess then I guess we'll wrap this up.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
by the way, I did text Brandon, and I said, "Hey, man, you're down in Laguna Seca." He sent me a response back.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey, Gene, it was really fun and much smaller and slower, kind of what you said, than I thought it would be after watching so many MotoGP races." Okay, come on, dude. Come on, brother. And he goes, "Had a blast. 10 out of 10 would recommend."
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool.
Done.
Yeah, shout
10
out
out
to
of
you,
10.
Brandon.
Shout out to Brandon Marshall.
Cool beans. All right, then. I guess we'll wrap this up. We'll get together, I guess, next weekend.
Yeah,
we'll
we can
be
do it over
together.
the
We'll be
fire
a-
or something.
Yeah, we'll be able to have a chat then. So have a good week,
Yeah.
and we'll catch you next one.
That's it.
Later.